Well, what's up, guys? GotDave here, and I was just thinking about how I've been commuting to work lately, and it's really not something that I was used to doing like daily. You know, like I just recently made the commitment to start commuting on a daily basis, and just to see what it would be like, and just kind of like challenge the month of December and kind of just see if it would be possible for me to ride to work and back every day until I get Christmas break. But I was thinking about, you know, just some different things that I've had to think about with starting commuting, and I figured I'd share that with everyone. Like, if you're not used to commuting and all of a sudden, like, say your car breaks down and you're like, oh man, I gotta start riding my bike to work and back, here's some things that you want to think about, like as far as your bike is concerned and commuting. And the first thing is, luckily I don't live close to the freeway. You know, like I live way back in the hills, and it takes me quite a bit of riding, you know, quite a few miles for me to get to the freeway, to get to the on-ramp. And so by the time I get there, my bike's all warmed up, and that's good. But that's just something I figured I would talk about. That's number one thing that I thought about, was just make sure that your bike is warmed up before you get on the freeway. You know, like I don't think that it's a very good idea. Like right now, it's first thing in the morning, and it's actually a really cold morning. It's like 48 or 49 right now. Say you live like a quarter mile away from the freeway, okay? And you just start your bike up, and basically like the temperature gauge has no bars at all. It's just like bone cold. And you hop up on the freeway and you're just like, ah, you know, at like 5 grand. I don't think that that's good. And since I have to be at 5 grand on this bike doing about 75 or 80 mile an hour, like flow of traffic, I like the fact that my bike is warmed up before I get on the freeway. I think that's very important. I think that's very beneficial to your bike. And then another thing to think about is how your bike is geared. You know, like, is your bike even geared properly for being on the freeway? And a good example is this Duke 690 here. I actually put 1 tooth bigger sprocket on the front of this bike to gear it up taller, and I'm still at 5 grand at like 80 mile an hour. And if I hadn't done that, I would probably be at like 6 grand at 80 mile an hour. And it comes to a point where I think honestly a bike does not benefit from being held at a high RPM for like a half hour straight. You know, like if I had to be at like 6,000, I don't know, or 7,000, I wouldn't want to do it. You know, like if I was just absolutely like just winding it out to go speed limit or to go flow of traffic on the freeway, then it's like, no, that's probably not beneficial to your bike long term. You know, it's probably, bike's gonna get worn out or whatever, you know, it's gonna develop problems from doing that. So you might want to re-gear your bike a little bit taller if that's what you are considering doing, is just gonna be like commuting a lot. Then you might want to go, you know, like a tooth bigger on the front, or maybe start going smaller on the rear sprocket. That's how much riding it takes me to get to the freeway. So it's like by now my bike is totally warmed up. I'm totally fine. It's like no big deal. Yeah, and then the third thing that I was thinking, like the last thing that you will have to think about, or that you will definitely think about after you've ridden to work and back for a week, is the tire choice for your bike. Because if you've got like a high performance sport bike tire on your bike, you know, like a canyon carving tire on your bike, that center strip is gonna get worn out in like a week, dude. Especially if it's hot. Like if it's really hot, like if you have like 90 or 100 degree days and you're on the freeway doing freaking 80 mile an hour for half an hour, dude, that center strip is gonna get toasted. So you wanna make sure that you have a tire that's like this Road Attack tire that can handle that, that's got that harder center strip. see, 5 grand at 80. So that was just like 3 things that I came up with, yeah, that I was kind of thinking about. But definitely it's something that you would have to think about if you started commuting. You know, commuting is not something that you do all the time, and not something that you do on your particular bike that you have or whatever. It might be some adjustments that you need to make. You know, either take the long way, go into the freeway if you live too close to the freeway so that your bike's all warmed up, and making sure that your bike is geared properly so you're not winding the shit out of it. You know, you might even have to re-gear your bike specifically for commuting. And then that last thing is the tire choice. I just really think that's important as far as like long term. You know, like it could be really cheap for you commuting to work and back on your bike, or it could be very expensive if you're going through tires like every couple of weeks. So that's something to think about. So those are my ideas, my suggestions. If you have anything else, we'll leave it in the comment section down below. And I will talk to you later. Peace.